Hey, I'm trying to code, and at first I thought that the people who made games were literal wizards. I looked at a line of code and yeah, let's just say it took me a little while before I figured out how to make a somewhat playable game. But after a few years, I was getting real bored of tiny little prototypes. I want the real deal. I want to put my game on Steam. So that's where we start, the beginning of finally making $7 whole. Thanks, Mom. I have so many plans for what I want this game to be. There's gotta be 10,000 biomes, and we're gonna have a laser gun and a lightning launcher, and basically any weapon that's in my head is going in the game. Oh, and also I only have a few months to make it, so yeah, it should be pretty easy. To start it all off, I'm deciding to use the game engine with absolutely no controversies whatsoever, Unity. Why Unity? Anyways, now's probably a good time to actually explain what I want to be. Basically, I'm planning to make a game where you can blow everything up. I love games that let you affect the entire environment, but I also want it to be 2D. Since last time I made a 3D one, things didn't work out too good. Platforms like Mario probably wouldn't work well with all the explosions, so I'm gonna go top down. I also like the idea of limited visibility, like really harsh shadows, which would make you feel as if you were actually the player, rather than being detached from a bird's eye view.
2 weeks later.
So as you can see, the player can go around, move around, put down bombs that will blow up different tiles. It's pretty simple. There's no art yet. There's no music. And sometimes the tiles do weird glitchy things. Just don't worry about it. We can just blow those up. You didn't see that. So yeah, that's basically the prototype. Now that I have a basic prototype going, I think I'll add art and music and juice to it to help improve it and solidify how it's gonna look. But who wants to make stuff by themselves? Ew, that's gross. Instead, I've asked around and found Dean and Arya, so they can do all the work for me. Okay, I think it's time to call Dean and see how much progress he's had on the music. So, you got the goods?
Sorta.
Dean, this is 1 minute of one song. What have you been doing for the past 2 weeks? Roblox?
Well, yeah, maybe.
I see. While Dean was doing music, I had Arya on art. He made some really good looking grass tiles and learned pixel art really fast. It was kind of cool to work with a team and get help, but Dean and Arya are a little bit slow. I mean, it makes sense. I'm not paying them, and I sort of just sprung it on them randomly, so some advice I'd give to you game devs out there is to either pay real professionals to help, or at least have friends that are really invested in your idea. If you don't have one of those two things, I don't know, maybe just try to do it yourself and see what happens. Anyways, so I finished up the art and music, and added in some sound effects. Now, a character moving around is good and all, but I also want to have a whole arsenal of weapons to choose from. And with weapons comes a way to buy those weapons. Usually games have coins for this, but I have to be special. So instead I'm using the souls of the zombies you kill. The coolest weapon I'm working on at the moment is a suggestion from Dean, the banana gun. This gives me huge worms vibes, so I made it explode the same way the banana grenade does in worms. To make more weapons, all I really had to do was take the banana gun, copy and paste, switch around some images, and replace the bananas with actual bullets. And now you got your sniper rifle, machine gun, shotgun, you know, the usual. But this game is getting way too easy with these weapons. I think it's time to make a boss. Starting with the leaf boss, I'm just gonna make it attack, and it's not moving. 1 second. Oh, okay, the script was just mildly broken. It's all good. I got it all patched up, and now the boss can move around. Now I just have to add some attacking, and the AI for it is actually pretty simple. Basically all it does is cycle through these customizable states. Rushing goes towards the player, walking is the same but slower, shooting shoots zombie acid at the player. The other ones are pretty self-explanatory. So, it's been a few months and I've got 1 biome done, and I want 9 or 10 of them. At least I have a loop done though. A game loop is what the player does over and over again in any given game, also known as the grind, which might not actually be a good thing, but as long as the grind is fun, it should be okay, right? So here's the loop. First you go into a biome, you kill a bunch of enemies, but ultimately you die. Then you go back to the main menu, upgrade yourself by buying new weapons, and go back in. Although the weapons are pretty good, a very important part of Shadow Walker is that you, as the one playing the game, are getting better. The cool weapons can only get you so far. The hope is that over time, you'll be able to move past the grass, stone, lava, or any other biomes I throw you away to make it to the very end. My original plan for the game was to be done by 2024, but with the way it's going, I think I'll give it another year or so. Some plans that I have now that I have plenty of extra time are to make 10 biomes, 30 weapons, 15 upgrades, a bullet customization system, and a full-on storyline for the bosses. And also have little NPCs that are scattered around that'll give you stuff. For the story, I've got some voice actors in me making some pretty cool lines. The way it'll work is each boss has his own voice, and when the player goes into the arena with the boss, the voice lines will start to play randomly, sort of taunting the player and giving you a sense of wanting to kill them more. So I've recorded all the voices, and sometime in the unknown distant future, I'll add them in, and it should be easy peasy to do that. Easy peasy to do that. Now that the story is out of the way, I can get to making another biome. The stone biome. Ari decided to help me out one last time and make a stone golem guy, and honestly, it looks really good. I used the stone golem as inspiration and made some tiles. Luckily, the generation system in Shadow Walker works really well, and all I really have to do is make some art. The walls and floor will look just how I want them to. I also made the stone golems glow red in the dark, so you can see them through walls, and that's not creepy at all. It makes the game a little bit easier though, so I added it to all the enemies. You still get a sense of limited perspective, but you won't be surprised and attacked by random enemies you can't see anymore, as much anyway. And now, it's time to make... I took some art from the stone biome and recolored it, changing the shape of the stone golem a little bit to make it look like lava. I updated some variables in lava golem script that make it deal more damage and be a little scarier.
I'm in danger!
I also made them shoot out lava puddles, so yeah, you won't be getting past this area without a lot of firepower. As well as having lava puddles be shot at you, there's also just normal lava ponds laying around. I would not recommend taking a swim though, because you will die very fast. Oh, and did I mention the lava golems also charge at you? But hey, at least they give you 3 skulls if you manage to kill one. After all that, I took the leaf boss and reskinned it with new and improved lava boss art. Now all this is cool, but it's been months now, and I've only made 3 biomes. I think it's time for a 24-hour challenge. Usually if someone's being unproductive, they'd probably just try to work a few more hours a day to catch up. But what do you think I am, a normal person? Instead, I'm clinically insane. So I got me, Dean, Arya, and another one of my friends named Isaiah to do a 24-hour long coding challenge. The rules are simple. You have to be only on productive apps like Unity or Blender or Godot or something for 24 hours straight. During this span, I made the snow, shadow, and swamp biomes, as well as a proper main menu where you can walk around and buy things, and a few weapons and upgrades. One of the most important tools you can buy now is a medkit. It's simple, but it's super useful as you can get further along in the biomes by healing yourself more. So yeah, we all succeeded the challenge, except for Dean that is, because he fell asleep. Of course. And now I have this game, it's playable, it's working, but I want people to actually try it. So I think it's time to put it on Steam. Now getting games on Steam is a multiple step process. First you need to have a game. Secondly, you gotta spend $100 whole to put it on there. And then they have to accept you. After they've accepted you, you've gotta make like 100 new art assets that you have to fit with their weird size restrictions so that Steam can actually show it off or something, I don't know. So many steps. But seriously though, Steam is really cool, especially with wish lists. If you get enough of those, you're basically guaranteed to make bank. So I got the game on there. How many wish lists do I have? We don't talk about that. But wait, what's this?
Next Fest.
Offer of Steam Next Fest.
Next Fest, if you didn't know, is an event on Steam where developers can put their demos out there for people to try out. It's apparently a pretty good way to get wish lists. So I've got it on there, and hey, would you look at that, my wishlist count doubled. According to a Steam wishlist calculator, that should make me approximately $200. That's like 10 cents an hour. All I gotta do to get all that hard cash is to finish up my game. But right now I only have like 6 biomes and 15 weapons, so I guess it's time to make some more biomes. I want to have some hot areas. So what better ones than desert and savanna? For the desert, I got cacti and cacti bushes, along with these weird mummy guys that punch you. In the savanna, I got some vultures. They're completely different from any other enemy I've made so far, since they can fly over walls, swooping down to attack without having to worry about being blocked by the terrain. I made them have like no health, but you can't hurt them while they're flying since they're too far up. That is, except if you're using a bomb of some kind. Bombs are kind of their weakness. It would have been really tricky to make this with the enemy script I've been using so far, since it's got so much stuff in it and it's not really useful. So instead, I made a new flying enemy script. All it does is switch between different states, either flying away, targeting the player, or swooping down to attack you. So I've got these hot biomes done. Now I want to make the flesh, ruins, and mushroom biome. The coolest thing out of all these biomes, in my humble opinion, is the snake boss for the ruins biome. Making it was a bit tricky since I didn't know how I wanted to make the tail. first I tried out a particle system, but that just looked kinda weird, like the snake parts were falling off or something. So instead I tried replacing it with one of the tentacles from the Shadow Boss. I might have been working on the Shadow Boss for a little while now in secret. After a lot of tweaking, I finally got this. You gotta be quite careful about the tail because you might get stuck in it, and the snake will have no problem with brutally murdering you. So make sure not to let him surround you. For the mushroom biome, I made a really cool spore effect that poisons you and hurts you over time. It makes it a hard place to move around in, since you're always trying to avoid spores. The flesh biome is even worse. There's fleshy stuff all over the place, and you gotta try your best to avoid the pools at all times. Luckily, like the lava biome, all the enemies here give you plenty of skulls to compensate. All those biomes are basically complete. That means all I gotta do now is make the shadow biome. A while back in the 24-hour challenge, I said that the shadow biome was done, but that was kinda a lie. Or like, sorta half-made. I have to redraw a bunch of the art for it since it's so dark you can't see anything. Also, the enemies aren't even made yet. So I went into Sprite and drew these weird tentacle guys called tentacle guys and some soot sprites. Soot sprites can go through walls and are very fast. I went all out on the difficulty for this biome since, I mean, come on, it's the last biome. You gotta be the best of the best to finish this one. But the hardest thing I've made is definitely the shadow boss. So I made tentacles using a tentacle script that I made a while ago in secret. What this script does is fairly simple. There's a bunch of different points, each part's of a tentacle, and the script tries to make each point, starting with the stem of the tentacle to the tip, move within a certain vicinity to the last point. So as the boss moves, the tentacles slowly twist and turn to hit equilibrium, and it makes a pretty cool effect. I then made the tentacles spin super fast. If you shoot at them, then it can kill the tentacle, which in turn will hurt the shadow boss a lot. The only problem is that these tentacles do a lot of damage to you, and you have to kill all of them before it even hurts the boss a little bit. So you have to be crazy good at this game to kill him. But now it's 2025, and there's no NPCs while you're playing. I didn't make 30 upgrades, and the story isn't even implemented. Some of the coolest features in my head aren't in the game, and it'd take me maybe another year of development or more to add all of them in. But would it end? Honestly, I'd probably just keep getting more and more ideas for the game until eventually I either got bored of it and quit, or it became a massive bloated mess. So I guess this is it. I'm done. The game isn't everything I dreamed about, but it's good enough. I might not get thousands of dollars, and I won't be famous or anything. I think the real value in Shadow Walker for me won't be sales or publicity, or anything like that anyways. What I've gotten from Shadow Walker is the experience. The experience of learning how to program, the experience of being a real game developer. Now I think back to the 9-year-old me dreaming to make his own game, and I'm pretty sure I did it.